Jeremiah, would you not sing right now?
Is the side part.
Hey Dad, did you get my bottle off my bunk?
What?
Did you get my bottle off my bunk?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope everybody is good today. I know it's strange for me to be standing here, and I ask your forgiveness. I will not be doing the program. Paul is sick this morning, and so things have kind of been unusual. So Andy will be giving our message this morning, and we won't be able to have singing because I don't sing. So we're just going to go ahead and to the message in a minute, but if anybody has prayer requests, if you want to give them now, I will write them down and we will pray over them. Ellie, would you mind being quiet? We did get notified this morning that a very dear friend of ours, Philip Gerhardt, passed away yesterday, so please keep his wife Linda and their family in your prayers. Mary Fass, cousin, was in a terrible car accident yesterday, and they were doing surgery on him. Also, Courtney Duncan has asked for prayer for her grandson. And my brother Alan, who lives in near Fort Worth, Texas, is in this weather threat that is coming through. And I know a lot of our friends are in Arkansas, Texas, and Oklahoma that are getting hit with this massive winter storm. I heard on the radio yesterday that they were equating this coming week of cold and snow and ice to a Category 5 hurricane as far as the severity of it. So please keep all of those folks in your prayers. And Andy, can you start us in prayer and then go to your message? I'm going to turn, you can turn that whichever way you need it. I'll leave that to you.
All right, let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for just coming together more for this service to let's praise you and worship this morning, Lord. I just bless our message, Lord. You bless all these people who are suffering, Lord, this morning, who are hurting, but who need something, need a touch from you this morning. I just put your hand upon them and guide their lives, Lord. Let's guide their service this morning. Let's hear your message be taught, Lord. Let's just touch me, Lord, that I may speak what I need to speak, Lord. That we may hear and I may learn myself something this morning you want to teach me, Lord. I'm so thankful for your mercy in Jesus' name.
Just turn that however it works.
I think it's fine. I turned your Bibles to Numbers chapter 4 this morning. You want to read in verse 21. I was taking it doing in my Bible study for the year. I'm in Numbers, and really as you get to these just verse and chapter in the Bible, you really get bogged down. If you read through Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, you know why this is really the valley of death for Bible studies as you go throughout the year. It's really hard reading because really it's a lot of this chapter here, these few chapters in this book. It's about numbers, just where Moses is numbering the people, and it runs all together. And Leviticus has a bunch of ceremonial laws in it, and there's bits and pieces that are really really good. But a lot it's just it can get really really slow. And I was thinking the night about when I was reading through Numbers, and this all come to me surely there's no way that a message could come out of Numbers, this first part of Numbers. This many people want to go to war, or these people sat here. But when I got to chapter 4, it got interesting as I was reading. And I'm going to skip to the first little part, but this because it's a little more clear of what I want to bring a message out of. But the whole chapter is really interesting if you look at it in regard of what it means. In verse 21, it starts, "The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take also the sum of the sons of Gershon throughout the houses of their fathers by their families. From 30 years old and upward to 50 years old shalt thou number them. All that enter into to perform all the service, to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. This is the service of the families of the Gershonites, to serve and for burdens. And they shall bear the curtains of the tabernacle, and the tabernacle of the congregation, his covering, and the covering of the battered skins of the above upon it, and the hanging of the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the hangings of the court, and the hangings of the door of the gate of the court, which is by the tabernacle and by the altar round about. Their cords and all the instruments of their service, and all that are made for them, they shall serve. At the appointment of Aaron and his sons shall all the service of the sons of the Gershonites, and all their burdens, and all their service, and you shall appoint unto them the charge and all their burdens. This is the service of the families of the sons of Gershon, in the tabernacle of the congregation, and their charge shall be under the hand of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest." If you read this whole chapter, it's going in basically the sons of Moses and their obligations. We know for a fact that Aaron and his family were the priests. They were over the sacrifices. They were over the tabernacle. What goes inside. They were the priests. So I always thought it was funny how you didn't thought much about it. What was Moses' his sons? What's their burdens? And their burdens were basically to move the tabernacle. It was to basically to pick. If you go to the first one of Kohath, they had a section they needed to do. I think they moved. If I'm right, they moved instruments after their sons have covered them. And then the Gershonites, there was a tent. They picked the tent up. They carried it around. And then let's see here. Let's make sure I say it right. Merari, that's Moses' other son. Their job was the pillars. So each family had a special part of the tabernacle to move, to carry around, and it stuck me too that really the numbers of these people, from 30 to 50 years old. I told Aaron, I said that's funny because that's basically let's say you started family at 20, you got 10 years to get your house set up. But from 30 to 50, your service was the service of the tabernacle, and that's what you did. That's what your part of the job was. When it got ready to move, you'd come, you'd at the appointment, you'd pick the stuff up and move it. So these people, there was not. I'm trying to say it right. Why Aaron and his sons were the priestly duties. These people had a job to do. They did not escape their tasks. And it touched me that all of us in the Church of Christ have a task to do. We have a job we are set upon to do. Whoever in each one to his duty. And just go ahead and turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 12. Very familiar scripture. 1 Corinthians chapter 12. It starts 11. It says, "For all these worketh the one and selfsame Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will. For as the body is one, hath many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body. So also is Christ. And by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether we were Jews or Gentiles, whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink of this one Spirit. For the body is not one member, but many. If the foot shall say, Because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the ear shall say, Because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, it is therefore not of the body. If the whole body were of the eye, where the hearing? If the whole were of the hearing, where the smelling? But now hath God set members, every one of them, in the body as it has pleased him." We, as the body of Christ, have a job to do. We have tasks set upon us to do. And what that may be, we don't know. The person around us may not know except we ourselves. No, there's not a person in order who can say, God said you need to do this. Or God said you need, Sarah, your job is this. God gives us our own duties to perform. He gives us to our own, maybe to be a mother. Maybe a father. It may be to work at a power company. It may be to dig water lines. It may be to serve in Africa as a mission field. Each person has their task appointed to do. But as he said about the body, if the body was divided, you're hurting yourself. And as each one of us has a task to do, a burden to do, each of us must perform our tasks. Each of us must carry that burden to the job appointed. And in Galatians 6, 4 and 5, and you don't have to turn there. I was going to read it this morning. He says, but let every man prove his own work, and then shall he rejoice in himself alone and not another. Every man shall bear his own burden. And that burden, what says burden, he specifically means tasks. I can't bear Sarah's tasks this morning. Now, then there's a part, it says, verse 2, it says, bear you one another's burdens. And I was reading, and I realized something this morning. It's easy to get confused. The first time it says bear each other's burdens, he's talking about each other's weights. There's a difference he puts between a weight and a task. A lot of times our tasks are weighty. If we feel weights on them this morning. But if we look at them from the perspective of what God has given us, we'll see the task is glorious. But we are to bear each other's burdens and each other's weights that sit upon us. And that may be from physical, that may be mental, it may be from our families, it may be something that hurts us. We can help that, but I cannot take and do your tasks this morning. Right. Brother Paul, who brings a message, and he said, cannot do your tasks. That is for you and you alone to perform. Mm-hmm. If you are listening this morning and you believe your pastor is the one who's supposed to pray for you, to pray, and the one who's supposed to go visit the sick, and the one who's supposed to do all the work of the church, you're wrong. God has set up for us a task this morning for you to do. And if you are not doing it, you are slacking. You are leaving a hole in your armor. You are leaving slack in the line. You're the weak link this morning. We all want to pray for God's will, and God just show us what you want me to do in my life. And then when He shows us, we don't want to do it. I can't remember which preacher I heard on the radio this past week, and it really touched me. He said, a lot of times, I'm trying to prepare the best. He's like, we spend so much time looking for God's will, we don't do what He's already given us to do.
That's right.
God, I want to do this. I need your will in my life. We got to, why aren't you doing what you know to do? But that's not fun, God. That's heavy. That's tough. I don't want to do that. I don't want to get in the morning and go to work. I don't want to make my kids breakfast. I don't want to go out there and move the manure pile. I don't want to hold the door with that stranger. I don't want to put all my all into working for that boss man I don't really like. And you probably are going to find God's will because He's not going to show you much. Right. He's not going to show you anything that you cannot take. A part where it's another verse I this morning. It says where He says He'll not put temptation more than we can bear. Mm-hmm. And He's definitely going to give you more jobs than you can take.
Right. That's right.
I want to say some points this morning about our task this morning. It's got other points. First of all, your task this morning is important. If you ever have read anything about the military, if you read anything about organized sports or business models, each person has a task they are set to perform. If you are an army and you are an artillery, well, see, I won't be artillery, I'd rather be an infantry soldier, and you leave your post, that leaves a weak spot. I've read so many battles where it had been lost on one section buckled. The enemy schemingly watching us from the hill binoculars spotted the weak points. Well, I'll hit that. And when that failed, the whole line failed. I've read Battles of World War II where, versus the Battle of Midway. Let me put that in instrument, and it touched me every time I read it. That battle was lost because the American planes tailed a destroyer that decided to hunt a submarine all day long. As that destroyer tried that submarine, which never caused a hit on one ship, it saw it, and all day hunting that ship. And when it finally decided to go back to its group, it pointed the way, straight to the way of the American fighter planes to find the carriers. And they hit them. And really, if you know the history of the war, that really was the end of superiority in Japan, for Japan. That was the end of the war, for them to speak of how if they could really challenge you or not. If you are the weakling this morning, your enemy is sitting on top of that hilltop. He's scheming. He's watching for you. Your task is important this morning. It's important for your family. It's important for your church. And he's watching. Don't ever don't say, well, I'm not important to God. My work, my job isn't important. No one sees what I'm doing. No one sees how hard I'm working, so I just need to quit. It's important this morning. Secondly, your job is unique. Your task this morning, your burden, is unique only to you. You know, if you read back I didn't read in Numbers, talking about the Kohath, the sons of Kohath, who moved the objects of the temple. Do you know something they could not do? They could not go and pick the objects up because they would die. Moses' sons had to go and cover each holy object with a special skin so that it could be moved. That was a job of Aaron and their sons to do that bit. Your job this morning is unique to you. You're the only one who can do it. You know, I want people on service this morning who has adopted kids this morning, and that's a glorious thing. That's for her. She could not have taken care of these kids like anybody else in this world. Hey, your kids, you cannot. These are your kids. They're especially yours. Our kids, my wife takes care of, I take care of, are especially ours. They come with their own problems. They come with their own difficulties. They come with their own joys. But they are for you. And I think I heard on Focus Family that he's like, talking about our kids. He's like, if God didn't think you could take care of your kids, He wouldn't have given them to you. He gave you special instruments that you must help, you must grow. Your job this morning is specially unique for you. And no one else can do your job. If you don't do it, just don't get done. It falls by the wayside. It's unique. Third thing is it's bearable. Shocker. How to know, my job's too much. It's too tough. No, it's not. If you just skip over a little ways to where Paul's talking, he says here, but God forbid that I should glory save the cross of our Lord Jesus Christ, by whom the world is crucified to me and to the world. And he says here, in 17, he says, from henceforth let no man trouble me, for I bear in my body the marks of the Lord Jesus. God has given you this morning, He's given you the grace to perform it. Amen. He's given you the strength to do it. Amen. If you take these three things with the heart this morning, you realize that your task is holy. If it's appointed, if it's important, it's unique, it's holy. It's set apart for you. And I just want to go through, I got 6 things, and I'll close this morning, about what this task is to the person who does them. First of all, the task proves Him before God, for your family and your friends, for the world, and yourself as well. It shows what's in your heart. It shows who you really are this morning. A soldier who runs away from his post in battle isn't worth much. A person who calls the name by the name of Christ, who doesn't do his task, proves himself not to be worth much. The second thing it does, it tests him. It pushes him past his earthly, humanly limits. To only space where God can help. A lot of times, I believe, and I think my failure a lot of times as well, is we stop when it's too much. It's too much. I can't do it. You're right. It is too much. It's too much for your flesh. It's too much for your human nature to handle. And it's funny how it occurred to me yesterday when I was up in the attic fighting electrical wires, cutting my hands up, fussing, griping, and grumbling. And God said, you ever prayed about this? Your kids too much to handle? Have you prayed about it?
Yeah.
Your job too much to handle? You prayed about it? What we say how much, well, I love God and I want to serve Him, but we never invite Him into the problems we face in our lives. You're seek counsel about it. You're check His Word about what His Word said. You read what other people say who are godly influence in your life. We say, well, I can't do it, Lord. It's unbearable. And God said, yeah, it is for you. We need to realize that the tasks set for us are supernatural and require His help.
Amen.
The third thing it does, it strengthens Him. You know, like exercise. You can only get stronger if you're pushed, and you have to fight. You know, there's not an exercise, and that's funny. I remember a cartoon years ago where the character could not exercise. He was too weak, and they find exercise, preparing him, and he'll sit on the couch clicking the remote. I'm sorry, sit on the couch clicking the remote is not exercise.
That's right.
Exercise requires you pushing yourself. If it's I can't remember where years ago. If it's easy, it probably do any good, and that's body wise. But if it's easy for you to get by through, it's not strengthening you. Push yourself through Christ to perform a task you must do. The fourth thing it does, it teaches Him. The hardest tasks bring the greatest lessons.
Oh, that's so true.
You know, I don't know if how many. I'm sure everybody's done it. When you're trying to fix something and you completely blow it up, you have to refix it, have to rebuild it from nothing. It teaches you a lot. We have to go get the manual out. We have to go online and read and search and hunt for the problem to fix it. The hard task teaches us something. The task we can't get through teaches us how to grow in grace and trust the Lord. The fifth thing it crowns Him in victory of the battle. You know, the task is performed well, and we achieve victory, it does something for us. It gives us strength to rise up and go on. We can now point to where God delivers us again, when He strengthens us again, and we've done something else for His name. I don't think we count our victories enough. I think that's why I fail a lot. We don't count the small victories of the morning. We don't count the small victories that we go through at noon and evening. That's well, God, that's nothing. You know, it's just part of the day. You know, what's that? If God helped us through something, it's a great victory.
Yes.
If we ate good today for part of our diet, that's a victory. Oh yeah, we're good. If we didn't take and want to hit somebody today, because God helped touch our life, and that person really ugly, that's a victory. When we're able to get through, help our kids to learn, well, that's a victory. And we accept and take glory and take excitement in the victories that God shows in our daily life. And the sixth thing I had this morning, it reassigns Him. And I think sometimes that we get comfortable where we're at. And some people, that's their task. But if we're growing and winning, your wish will be reassigned. A soldier who's doing a good job will get a promotion,
Right.
which will now include more responsibility. It'll require more work. Oh, God, I want to grow in your grace this morning.
Yes.
Do you really want to grow in His grace this morning? Because once you reach a level, He's gonna say, you know what? You're 60 years on this earth. You're gonna sit there staying in this role of what you're doing here. You'll be promoted. You got more work to do. When our task is complete that God has given us, He will reassign us. And it will be more work, and it will be more struggle, and more dependence on Him. But as we have learned past, and we take the 5 things, the new reassignment will be more glorious.
Amen.
Because He had got, we'll look back and say, well, this is hard, God. I don't know how to do this, God. I don't know if I can stand up, God. But we can look back in the past and see, well, He's strengthened us, well, He's proved us, well, He's tested us. Now we're ready for something greater. This morning, as I does this message, as you're hearing as you hear to be taught, you are not any different than these other people in the Bible. Abraham had his tasks. Even the Son of God had his set tasks to do on this earth. You are not uniquely taskless.
Right.
If you work at a company this morning, you know that. If you have a house, you know that. God is calling you to your task. He's calling you back to the plow this morning. He's calling you back to work. If why was it the Kohathites said, I don't want to mess with that today. All those people said, I don't get the pillars. I'm tired of moving the tent. They get those Aaron's sons, they get the glory of sacrifices. And I'm sure Aaron's sons said, y'all know what you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
You get the easy job. But that's how we are. So-and-so there, they get the easy job. If that farm runs so smooth over there, their life goes so smooth over there, and they'll look at you and saying, man, they got the easy way. You have a task this morning. It's specifically made for you, and God will make it as hard as He needs to make it to strengthen you.
That's good.
So as I close this message this morning, I want you to really ask God, are you slacking your tasks? Are you not closing in that line? Are you the weak link of the chain? What do you stand this morning as far as your task? What do you stand this morning as far as your and once again goes back to that verse of Galatians and where it goes from a weight to a task. The task is glorious, the weight is heartache. And I think too many times we let our spirits hurt because our tasks become our weights. And we miss out on the joy of our tasks, We miss out on those joys of the victories. We miss out on the joys of the test. We miss out those joys on proving who we are. God is calling you back this morning to the plow. He's calling you back to your tasks. If you have backed away and said, I'm done with that task, He's calling you back.
Amen.
He's calling you back to the front lines. I've read story of in the wars where people were shot and they went to hospital, and a day later they were back on the front lines because they could not let their fellow soldiers down. God's calling you back to the front lines. He's calling you back to your job. He's calling back to your work. And take joy in that He has given you a unique, special job to do. He's equipped you for the tasks. He's equipped you to be victorious in it. Let's pray. Lord Heavenly Father, we ask that you just take and touch our hearts, Lord, this morning. Let's call us back to the task you have provided for us, Lord. Lord, give us strength and grace, Lord. Forgive us where we have failed. Forgive us where our attitude has gotten in the way. And Lord, just help us to honor you through the work we do. Lord, if we are a place in our life where we don't know where our next task will be, Lord, show us. And give us the grace, Lord, to perform it, Lord. We're so thankful this morning. We're thankful for your word. We're thankful for the books of the Bible, Lord. We have stopped to look over the things that can teach us grace lessons, Lord. We speak to our hearts through your word. In Jesus' name, amen.